I finally got it in my hands. A little late to the YouTube party here. The all-new 35 1.4 GM lens for Sony on the a7R4. Been trying it out on the a7S III as well, which we'll be doing that in just a second. Cliff Notes version of this review. It's fantastic. Of course it is. Anyway, let's talk more about this lens right now. All right, before we get into this, I do want to thank Sony Singapore for allowing me to test drive the lens. Having said that, these are my thoughts and my thoughts only. Now, usually I memorize all the specs of a lens, but this lens has got a lot inside of it, a lot. As a matter of fact, let's go to the site here. We got two XA elements, one ED element, nano AR2 and fluorine coatings, dual XD linear AF motors, that's why it's very fast for autofocusing. You got a D-click switch on this for the aperture, dust and moisture resistance, you can take it onto the, the harsher terrains. You got 14 elements, 10 groups, 67 millimeters for the front filter thread, 524 grams. So this thing focuses lightning fast. Image quality is very sharp, great bokeh. And you know what? I'll basically put it this way to you. If you shot with the 24 1.4, which I have, and I love that lens, this lens complements that in every which way. You can have two of these in your bag if you have the means to do it, because they're both fantastic. Sony has knocked it out of the park with this 35. And the weight feels really good. I got this on the a7R4, we tested on the a7S III, and it feels easily well balanced on it. It doesn't feel bad at all. It's not overly heavy. This is a lens you can take around with you daily, no issues at all. The aperture ring's got a nice click to it. All the G Master lenses do. There's no hard stop on the focusing ring here, so if you want a hard stop, you don't have it. But you can declick this as well. So if you want to do that nice aperture change in your video, you can do that. Lens, it's fantastic. This is the new era of G Master lenses. The 24, the 135, 1.8. I love that lens, by the way. One of my favorite Sony lenses of all time, but this is right up there with it. I'm glad to see that Sony's bringing out some more 1.4 lenses, because they need some faster aperture lenses out there. Now, will they get to a 1.2? Who knows? If you need 135 and that's it, just get this. I mean, yeah, there are probably other variants from other different companies out there, third-party manufacturers that do 35s, but what I'm seeing here in this, I tested out the Samyang versions of the 35 1.4, right? Go with this. It's a little extra money, but you will be very, very happy. Also, the colors out of this lens are quite nice. They've got this, they're a little bit more saturated. It's a little got the nice color out of this, because a lot of people talk about the sensor being, causing a lot of the color cast, but also lenses have a lot to do with that as well. Certain manufacturers have a different color cast. Like sometimes you could have something that's very vibrant or more of a greenish cast or reddish cast, and that's coming for a lot from the lens as well. This is a very nice neutral, but saturated, but not too saturated, just enough to give it that little bit of bite to it, which is really nice. The 24 1.4 is the same thing, actually. It was a really fast lens, and the 24 gives you a nice kind of, perspective on things. I do like, 28 has never been I've never been a fan of 28, because it's kind of neither here nor there. I'd rather go for 35, but a 24 is a really nice focal length, in terms of what you see and how you see the world. But yeah, this is really nice. And the flaring is really controlled too. Hey, we got a motorcycle. You know what? Come on, Kyle, you know the deal. We always got to shoot a motorcycle when we do a review, if there's a motorcycle around. And it's a Triumph. That means we really have to shoot it, because I have a Triumph as well. Close focusing is fantastic on this as well. Look, look at that. Winner. Love the lens. All right, guys. Anyway, enough of me babbling. Let's go into Lightroom. Let's take a look at images from the 35 1.4, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. All right, guys, we're now in Lightroom taking a look at images from the 35 1.4 GM lens on the a7R4. So there might be some loading time issues with these images because they're coming in at 123 megabytes per image. My MacBook Pro right now, the fans are blowing in the background. I'm not sure if you can hear that or not, but if you do, that's because it's processing a lot here. Okay, let's look at some images here. Let's look at this kitten real quick. And I love taking pictures of cats. They're just absolutely beautiful.
But look how pin sharp this is. Look at the fur here, the whiskers here, the eye. This is very, very sharp. This is after edit, of course. This is before edit, after edit, before, after. Look at this. Stunning. And look at the fall off on this. This 3D pop. And you're going to notice that throughout some of these other images I'm going to show you. There's a really nice 3D pop to the images. Take a look at this flower for a second here. Now, this was, I want to kind of show you the foreground and the background and how it all sort of blurs out and what you can do with this lens. And it kind of gives you more of an artistic feel with it. And I do feel that, yeah, the background is really well controlled. There is a little bit of character to it, which I like because I like lenses with character. Some people don't. I prefer it because if I'm going to spend good money on a lens, I want people to know it's a certain type of lens, but that's just me. But overall, very happy with the rendering of this image. Now let's push some sun stars for a moment here at f16. And I wanted to test this also out with flaring to see how well it's controlled. I shot this in direct sunlight, okay? And as you can tell, there is a little bit of flares, but this is really well controlled considering this is before edit, after edit, before edit, after edit. I actually, in the edit, accentuated this to show you here in the Lightroom portion of this review. But as you can tell, if you want to tone down that edit, it's really well controlled. Again, I mean, the sun star is not really prominent. This is f16, so I'm stopping it all the way down, but it's, I mean, it's pretty good for my taste. But again, some people really want that harsh, very sharp lines in their sun stars. You might need to do a little more Photoshop to get that to happen with this 3514. But if you don't care about that, then here you go. All right, let's look at some other images here. Here's these gentlemen that were playing this board game of, I believe it's some sort of Chinese checkers game, but I wanted to focus on this guy here, sort of in the zone. He's just thinking about his next move. And just look at the rendering of this. Now it's a little bit still processing in the background here, but this is before edit, after edit, before edit, after edit. But I'm really happy with this. I mean, just the detail that's in this image and what this lens can capture. So, I mean, again, all these new GM lenses that we're going to get from Sony are going to resolve the Sony a7R IV beautifully, as you're seeing here. Also the Sony Alpha 1. So if you're worried about that, do not be. This is a really good lens. All right, let's look at some motorcycle shots, because we've got to throw a little motorcycle in here. The Triumph that we saw as we were walking around in the review here. And again, well controlled, not seeing any fringing here or any sort of aberration in the chrome portions of this bike. Looks great, fantastic. Just to get a little more close to this, I mean, guys, this is beautiful. As I told you, high performing lens. So as we're looking through these images here, you can see, and again, another shot directed in the sunlight, great lens flare control. Colors are great, details great, bokeh is great. Highly recommend this lens. Let's go to my final thoughts on it.
All right, guys, so as you saw in Lightroom, images are fantastic, very sharp, minimal chromatic, there was pretty much zero chromatic aberration to it. You know, great with sun flares, just a fantastic lens. I mean, everybody's been saying this on YouTube, and sometimes you think they're paid for it, and maybe some people are, we're not, unfortunately. This lens goes back pretty much right after this review, so I like the lens. And actually, why don't you do this, Colin? Can you declick it and just turn the aperture around?
All right.
There you go.
So 1.4?
1.4 all the way down. I know I'm underexposed right now, but you know what? Just how smooth it is. Look at that. Beautiful. So guys, that's it for this review. Simple, straightforward. I mean, what's there to say? It's a fantastic lens. I highly recommend it if you have the budget for it. I would definitely get it. It's the only 35 you need for your Sony camera. Better than the Zeiss. The 1.8, you could say, yeah, the 1.8 is more economical, of course. It's a lot less money, but you know, if you're into photography and you're serious about it and you want one lens you can take out at night, you can take it in the daytime, you can take it anywhere you want to film with it, and it's got very fast autofocusing to it, just get this lens if you can. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the lens. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like always, follow us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, like this video. Helps us out a lot here on the channel. Be safe out there, and we'll chat to you soon. Take care.